Liu Yuning faints at Menglong's funeral. Zhao Lusi's tears break everyone. The rain began before dawn, thin at first, like a quiet warning whispered across the empty streets. By the time the black cars arrived, it had grown heavier, relentless, cold, almost deliberate. The sky over the cemetery seemed to collapse under its own grief, mirroring the tension that hung thick in the air. September 14th, 2025, 3 days after Yu Menglong's death. The official date of death, September 11th, 2025, had already been burned into headlines, etched into social media timelines, and repeated across television screens like a tragic refrain. But for those gathered here, the date meant something deeper, something far more unsettling, because not everyone believed it was just a death. Some believed it was the beginning of something far darker. The funeral was meant to be private, controlled, dignified. It failed on all counts. Even before the ceremony began, murmurs spread like wildfire through the crowd of celebrities, close friends, and industry insiders. Black umbrellas clustered together like shadows conspiring against the truth. Security was tighter than expected, too tight for a simple funeral. Inside the chapel, the atmosphere was suffocating. The scent of white lilies, chosen for purity, felt almost ironic. At the center lay the polished coffin, closed. That was the first thing people noticed. Closed. No final viewing. No last goodbye. Just a sealed box holding a man whose death raised more questions than answers. Zhao Lusi stood near the front, her hands trembling as she clutched a folded tissue. Her eyes were already swollen, her composure hanging by a thread. She hadn't spoken since arriving. Not to the media, not even to those closest to her. But her silence was louder than anything, because she knew something. Or at least, she suspected. Across the aisle, Liu Yuning arrived late. He didn't walk in like a guest. He stumbled in like a man being dragged by invisible weight. His face was pale, almost ghost-like. His usual confidence replaced by something raw, fear, grief, or perhaps guilt. No one could tell. His eyes darted around the room, scanning faces, avoiding contact, as if he expected someone or something to confront him. The moment his gaze landed on the coffin, everything changed. He froze, completely. The room seemed to shrink, the whispers fading into a dull hum, as if the world itself held its breath. Then, he collapsed. A sharp, sickening thud echoed across the chapel floor as Liu Yuning hit the ground. Gasps erupted instantly. Someone screamed. Chairs scraped violently as people rushed toward him, but he didn't move. His body lay limp, his breathing shallow, his face drained of all color. "Call an ambulance!" someone shouted. But amidst the chaos, there was one person who didn't move. Zhao Lusi. She stood frozen, staring not at Liu Yuning, but at the coffin. Tears streamed down her face silently, uncontrollably, as if something inside her had finally broken beyond repair. Because in that moment, she understood something terrifying. This wasn't grief. This was fear. The police had not intended to attend the funeral, at least not officially. But by the time Liu Yuning was carried out and the whispers grew louder, two plainclothes officers had already slipped into the back of the chapel, unnoticed by most, but not by everyone. Detective Lin Y had been on the case since the morning of September 11th. Official cause of death, cardiac arrest. Unofficial conclusion, incomplete. There had been inconsistencies, small ones at first, a misplaced phone, a broken glass that no one could explain, CCTV footage that mysteriously cut out for exactly 12 minutes on the night Yu Menglong died. 12 minutes. Just enough time for something to happen, or someone to act. Lin Wei didn't believe in coincidences, and neither did his partner, Qin Rong. As the funeral descended into quiet chaos, Lin Wei's eyes moved slowly across the room, analyzing every reaction, every expression. Grief was expected. Shock was normal. But fear? Fear was different, and he saw it on multiple faces. But one stood out, Zhao Lusi. She wasn't just mourning, she was terrified. The first break in the case came not from evidence, but from a mistake. After Liu Yuning regained consciousness in the ambulance, he kept repeating the same words over and over again. It wasn't supposed to happen. At first, the paramedics assumed delirium, but when Detective Lin Wei heard the recording, something clicked. People didn't say that unless they knew more than they should. Later that evening, Zhao Lusi finally spoke. Not to the media, not to the public, but to the police. Her voice trembled as she sat across from Detective Lin Wei, her hands wrapped tightly around a cup of untouched tea. There was an argument, she said quietly. Between who? Lin Wei asked. She hesitated. Then, Menglong and Liu Yuning. The room went still. What kind of argument? Zhao Lucy's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they weren't just tears of sadness. They were filled with something darker. They were fighting about something serious. I didn't hear everything, but I heard Yu Menglong say. She paused, as if saying the words out loud would make them real. If this gets out, it will destroy all of us. Lin Wei leaned forward slightly. All of who? Zhao Lucy shook her head. I don't know. But she did. She just wasn't ready to say it. The investigation deepened quickly after that. Phone records, financial transactions, private messages, and then the CCTV footage. Or rather, the missing part of it. 12 minutes. Lin Wei had it reconstructed using backup servers from a nearby building. What he saw changed everything. At 10:43 p.m. on September 10th, Yu Menglong entered his apartment. At 10:47 p.m., Liu Yuning arrived. At 10:49 p.m., another figure appeared, unidentified, face partially obscured, but unmistakably there. At 10:55 p.m., the footage cut and resumed at 11:07 p.m. when Liu Yuning exited the building alone. No sign of the third person, no sign of Yu Menglong. The autopsy report didn't match the timeline. Cardiac arrest? Yes. But there were traces of something else, a substance. Unidentified at first, then later confirmed, a rare compound, not something easily obtained, not something accidental, something deliberate. By the time the truth began to surface, the funeral had already become a turning point. Not just for the investigation, but for everyone involved. Because the grief that filled that chapel wasn't just for a man who had died, it was for the secrets that died with him. Or perhaps, the secrets that refused to stay buried. Days later, Liu Yuning was called in for questioning. He didn't deny being there. He didn't deny the argument. But when asked about the third person, his composure cracked. I didn't see anyone else, he said. But his voice betrayed him, because he wasn't lying completely. He was hiding something. The final revelation came from an unexpected source, a message, scheduled to send automatically from Yu Menglong's phone, timestamped 11:06 p.m., September 10th, 1 minute before the CCTV resumed. The message was simple, chilling, and devastating. If anything happens to me, it wasn't an accident. The case exploded overnight. Media frenzy, public speculation, endless theories. But for Detective Lin Wei, the truth was already taking shape. This wasn't just a death. This was a chain reaction, a confrontation, a secret that went too far, and someone who made sure it stayed buried. At the center of it all were three names: Yu Menglong, Liu Yuning, and Zhao Lusi. 3 lives, bound by something no one fully understood, something powerful enough to destroy reputations, friendships, and ultimately, a life. Back at the cemetery, long after everyone had left, the rain finally stopped. The silence that followed felt unnatural, heavy, unfinished. The freshly covered grave stood alone, surrounded by wilted flowers and unanswered questions. And somewhere in the distance, unseen, someone watched. Because the truth hadn't come out yet. Not fully. And when it did, it wouldn't just break hearts. It would destroy everything. The city didn't sleep after the funeral. It pretended to. Lights stayed on longer in high-rise apartments. Phones buzzed deep into the night. Conversations were cut short the moment someone else entered the room. Something had shifted, subtly, but permanently. The death of Yu Menglong on September 11th, 2025, was no longer just a tragedy. It had become a threat. Detective Lin Wei stood in the dim glow of his office, the digital clock blinking 2:17 a.m. The caseboard in front of him had grown, Photos, timelines, call logs, fragments of truth stitched together with red string like a desperate attempt to impose order on chaos. But one detail kept pulling his attention back: the missing 12 minutes. He replayed the reconstructed footage again, watching the grainy figure enter the building at 10:49 p.m. The angle obscured the face, but there was something off about the movement. Too calm, too deliberate. Not a stranger. Someone who knew exactly where they were going. "Who are you?" Lin Wei murmured under his breath. Behind him, Qin Rong stepped in quietly, holding a thin folder. "We got the toxicology results expanded," he said. Lin Wei didn't turn. "And?" Qin hesitated, then placed the file down. "It wasn't just poison. It was engineered." That made Lin Wei finally look up. "Engineered?" Qin nodded. "The compound is a modified blend. Rare, customized. It wouldn't show up in standard screenings unless you knew what to look for." A silence fell between them. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't emotional. This was planned. Across the city, Zhao Lusi sat alone in her apartment, curtains drawn tight despite the darkness outside. Her phone lay on the table, screen glowing faintly. Dozens of missed calls, messages, questions. She ignored all of them. Instead, she stared at a single photo. 3 people. Herself, Menglong, Liu Yuning, taken months ago. They looked normal, happy even. That was the lie. Her fingers trembled as she flipped the photo over. There was handwriting on the back. "Some secrets are safer buried." She didn't remember who wrote it, but now she understood what it meant and why Yu Menglong had been afraid. The breakthrough came at 4:32 a.m. A security guard from a neighboring building came forward. He hadn't realized the significance at first, but after seeing the news, something clicked. "I saw someone leave through the back exit that night," he told the police. "Not the front, the back." Lin Wei's eyes sharpened. "What time?" "Around 11, maybe a bit earlier." "Can you describe them?" The guard frowned, thinking hard. "They were wearing a hood, but they weren't rushing. That's what I remember. Most people who sneak out look nervous." He paused. This one didn't. Back in the interrogation room, Liu Yuning sat rigid, his hands clasped tightly together. Lin Wei placed a photo in front of him, the still image of the third figure. "We know someone else was there," Lin Wei said calmly. Silence. "We also know they left through the back." Liu Yuning's jaw tightened. Still nothing. Lin Wei leaned in slightly. "You said it wasn't supposed to happen." A flicker. Barely noticeable. But it was there. "What wasn't supposed to happen?" Lin Wei pressed. Liu Yuning exhaled slowly, his composure cracking at the edges. "This wasn't murder," he said finally. Lin Wei didn't react. "What was it then?" Liu Yuning looked up, his eyes filled with something fragile. Regret, fear, and something else. Truth. It was supposed to be leverage. The room went still. Lin Wei didn't interrupt. "Yu Menglong found something," Liu Yuning continued, his voice low. "Something big, about people in the industry. Powerful people." "What kind of information?" "Financial records, hidden transactions, illegal deals." His voice shook. "Things that could destroy careers, or worse." "And the third person?" Liu Yuning closed his eyes briefly. "They were the connection." "Connection to who?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "I don't know their real name. None of us did." That was the first genuine answer, and the most dangerous one. Zhao Lusi didn't wait to be called in again. She went to the police herself. This time, she didn't hold back. "I remember the argument," she said, her voice steadier now, but colder. "It wasn't just about the secret. It was about what to do with it." Lin Wei listened carefully. "Yu Minglong wanted to expose it," she continued. "He said it was the right thing, that people needed to know." "And Liu Yuning?" "He was against it." "Why?" Her eyes hardened. "Because once it came out, no one involved would survive it. Not socially, not legally." "And you?" Zhao Lusi looked down. "I was scared." That, at least, was honest. The pieces began to align. The meeting that night wasn't random. It was arranged. Menglong, Liu Yuning, and the unnamed third figure. A negotiation, a decision, a line that, once crossed, couldn't be undone. The final piece came unexpectedly. A bank transfer, large, recent, linked to a shell company. Tracing it led to a name that wasn't on any official list, but appeared in private records tied to multiple industry figures. A ghost. Someone who existed only in the shadows of transactions and whispered conversations. The same shadow that walked into that building at 10:49 p.m. Lin Wei returned to the cemetery one last time. Not for closure, but for clarity. The grave stood quiet, untouched, as if the world had already moved on. But he hadn't. Not yet. He stared at the name etched into the stone. Yu Menglong, a man who had chosen truth and paid for it. The case didn't end with an arrest. It ended with a silence. Officially, the report concluded, cause of death, induced cardiac arrest due to external substances, investigation ongoing. Unofficially, everyone knew. The truth was too big, too dangerous, too connected. It didn't disappear. It was buried. Carefully, deliberately, just like the man who uncovered it. Liu Yuning withdrew from public life. No statements, no appearances, just absence. Zhao Lusi continued working, but something in her had changed. Her performances carried a weight now, a depth that audiences couldn't quite explain, because some emotions aren't acted, they're lived. And the third figure? They were never identified. Not publicly. But Lin Wei knew one thing. People like that don't vanish. They wait. They watch. And when necessary, they act. Months later, a package arrived at Lin Wei's office. No return address. Inside was a single flash drive and a note. No secret stays buried forever. He stared at it for a long time. Then finally, he plugged it in. The screen flickered. Files appeared. Dozens of them. Names, transactions, evidence. Everything Yu Menglong had tried to expose. Lin Wei leaned back slowly, the weight of it settling in. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Somewhere, far from the noise of the city, someone else received a message. 2 words. It's active. And just like that, the silence shattered. Because the truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of finding its way back to the surface. And when it does, it doesn't just reveal, it destroys.